Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 13, lucky number 13. Once again, I am home. So, the bipolar weather in Texas, I've just not been feeling it. Also, I've been a little drained mentally, which is normal, and that's going to kick off the next topic of what it's like to be an empath. So that's going to be day 13's topic and a little bit of why I've been home, why I've been in isolation, because sometimes I do need a recharge with everything that goes on in my empath life. So thanks for tuning in, and we're going to hop on this topic. Thanks for tuning in to the Melanin Talk. Per usual, I'm Janae. Thanks for joining me. So it's been really cold here. I woke up to it being 17 degrees this morning. There was some snow flurries, but it was still safe enough for the kids to go to school. I know everyone in other states or that live up north is like, oh, that's not cold, that's not this. With the wind chill, it made it 1 degree, and I think at one point it made it -2. So yeah, for me it was like, go ahead and stay home. Kiddos made it to school though, safe and sound. But Texas does things so weird because there was one time we were in the 30 degrees, but there was the risk of freeze, so they did cancel school that day. But then when we actually have a little bit of the snow flurries and it's so freezing with the wind chill, and we are like between 1 and -2, and the poor kiddos went to school today. My kids love school. I just made sure I dropped them off right at the front of the building. Anyways, welcome to 13. I love the number 13. Literally have it tatted on me. 8 is one of my favorite numbers. And then 13, because a lot of people do look at it as bad luck. It's actually really, really good luck. Look into it. But 13 is what I call a lucky number as well. So today I do want to touch on being an empath. Now, there are several different types of empaths, so we'll go over that as well. But the main thing an empath is someone who is really highly sensitive to the emotions of others. So being an empath, for example, you can feel others deeply. You can absorb some of their emotions. It gets that deep. I am a person that I am such a strong empath that I do absorb feelings. So I do have to take days away, sometimes weeks. Luckily, my family and my friends know me pretty well, so they know that, as I say, my social meter, I need to charge that battery up. And they completely understand. It's like I gotta disappear into isolation for a little bit, spend a lot of time with myself, which for the most part I do. I have my friend groups that, I promise to dedicate at least 1 or 2 times with them a month or like a weekend, so they know that I'm still good. But I just require a lot of alone time, especially being an Aquarius and an empath, which I'll dig into that as well too. For me, I'm also super intuitive. Usually with some empaths that is a trait. I do feel overwhelmed in crowds. When I was younger, I did some. So when I was younger, I did not like being around a lot of people. We deemed it as like anxiety or like social depression and things like that. As I grew older and started to learn and jump more into my spirituality, it's like, okay, you're really just an empath. So that's why my family, they work so well with me. They get it. Like, I could disappear for a month and they know I'm alive. So when I am like in public places, sometimes I do get overwhelmed with a lot of negative emotions. I feel like I can hear everything, and not necessarily like people being negative to me. I can just kind of read the evil in a room. And for so many years as an adult, like, I feared my spiritual awakening. And it's like, as a child, I was comfortable with it. I got to like my teenage and adult years, and I was in fear, so I kind of tried to shut that down, so I was able to go out and do stuff. But then once I got to a place of like healing again, it became like that I can hear everything around me and stuff. So I can feel the negative emotions walking into places. I don't even go to the grocery store, to be honest. I do a lot of Amazon shopping, and I do pickup orders, which I get joked on for all the time. My friends are like, "Oh, you're rich." I'm like, it really doesn't cost that much. There's free pickup. And I do my orders the night prior. I like doing orders from home anyway, because I could always look in the fridge and see what I need without me going to the store. Because if I just see stuff, I'm going to pick it up and throw it in the cart. But anyways, so hearing and feeling those negative emotions, I do feel drained after being around people, especially people that are already those draining, like vampires, those energy vampires, as you would call them. I try to avoid anything that will like emotionally charge me. Also, I used to feel this way. I've grown, so I'm a little bit different. Feeling responsible for others' emotional well-being. I do have difficulty expressing my feelings. That's a big thing. Don't start crying in front of me. I'm not even trying to be mean, but I'm the most awkward person. I don't know how to react to tears. Like, I can feel your feelings, and I feel kind of like, man, I feel bad for you. But if you start crying, I feel so uncomfortable. I might get like a nervous laugh. I have that too, a nervous laugh. And it's not even me being mean. I just get weirded out with tears. Even for myself, like when I went through my healing journey, all I did was cry, cry, cry. But my entire life, I never cried. People would never see me cry. Like in my relationship, he didn't see me cry for like the first 3-4 years. And then a moment when I do cry, my friends freak out because they're like, oh my. So I never force my beliefs on anyone. I don't down anyone's beliefs. I am strong in my beliefs though. I know some people won't agree, but a lot of people do. Being an empath can be interpreted as being closer to the spiritual world. They say that because like your sensitivities are heightened, and your emotions and the energies that you just feel of others. So that is said, I do believe it just because, you know, my spirituality and what I've been through, what I've experienced in life, and just the intuition I have. Like, that intuition is my strongest point in being an empath, I believe. I can sense so many energies. It's pretty crazy. Like, when I was younger, I didn't realize it. I walk into a room and it could be so many different things going on, and I would physically get sick if there was like a bad energy in there, and I never understood it. Like, I always have this thing, I get nauseous and it's so bad, like it gives me a migraine and everything. So when I started looking into things and I linked it to my spirituality, it's like, oh, okay, here are some signs. And the deeper I dug, the more I learned myself. So that was pretty cool. Just the compassion and the connection that you have to people, it's so deep. Like, there are times I literally can just feel what they're going through, and I had to learn to kind of put like a separator between that, because I don't want to feel everyone's stuff. Sometimes I can't control it, but I don't want to feel every emotion around me. So a good way to help me is, like I said, since I am drained when I'm out sometimes, being home, doing that isolation, doing that proper research, knowing myself, digging into myself, because everything is within. So that has, so as I stated earlier, there are different types of empaths. There are empaths who are hit like emotionally, and you can have just one trait or traits of all, or all these traits actually. Physical ones, like you can feel different things within your body. Intuitive, the one that I'm really heavy on. I'm actually really heavy on the intuitive, and I've just learned with the emotional and feeling everyone else's emotional. Physical is another strong one for me as well, but I've learned to control the physical and the emotional through plants, through animals, precognitive dreams. Some people are empaths through their dreams. There are dark empaths. There are so many. Like, for me, sometimes being an empath feels like having a superpower. And then, you know, like when you watch, let's say, X-Men or something, they don't know how strong their power is. They have to learn and go within themselves and learn their power. That's how I relate being an empath. It's like being a superhero who doesn't know your powers yet. And then once you learn it, bam, like there's so much you can do with that. So lastly, I want to touch on being an Aquarius, being an empath, and being a woman. So an Aquarius empath woman. Being an Aquarius, I already get a lot of slack. Apparently, we are the king and queens of detachment. I did not realize that until I got into my 30s, that what I was doing was just snapping my fingers and detaching from situations and people with like no problem. Like, we do feel a lot. We feel a lot, but no one could ever know. Like, we could be crying on the inside because we are emotional beings as an Aquarius itself, but our detachment game is so strong, you wouldn't even know the feelings we were feeling inside. So we're always looked at as the very cold zodiac sign. In reality, we have so many emotions. We just don't want to deal with that. So, being an Aquarius and an empath, it means you have a really strong ability to sense and understand the emotions of others around you. So I'm already an Aquarius who's got all that going on. And then now I got to add in being an empath. So I do feel things on a very deep level. But then at the same time, it's like we feel everything emotionally on a deep level, but we detach to approach and process those feelings. So that would be the detachment, the isolation me that you see. I am an air sign, being an Aquarius, so I already can feel what others are going through, and I can separate the emotional part from affecting me, but that does come with skill. In the beginning, like I used the example before about the X-Men not knowing their powers until they're trained, the same concept. So as an Aquarius, I am considered one of the most empathetic signs. I pick up so much energy from a group or a situation, and it's not just solely based on like emotions. When I do come across those situations, I think about it because, as an Aquarius, we're also very analytical. So I go into the analytics of everything. We turn everything into a science. It's really funny. Our thought process is crazy. Like, I always describe my thought process to others as I'm running with information. Sometimes I can start talking and something that's supposed to be like 2 minutes long turns into 2 hours, because once you get us going, our mind is just stimulated. So, yeah, my brain is just going to be running and talking. And then I'm just like, oh shoot, 2 hours later, like the little SpongeBob thing, like 5 hours later. That's how my mind works. So yeah, to summarize everything, we went over what an empath is. I've went over my life and some of my experiences as an empath. Went over some of the different types. And then, of course, I went over being an Aquarius empath as a woman. Look into yourself. See, do you have some traits that fall under being an empath? Look into your zodiac sign. Look into yourself. What situations have you been in that you feel like, oh, maybe I have some traits of being empath? Jump into the comments. Let me know. Let me get your feedback. Per usual. Thanks for joining me today, guys. Made it through day 13. And I hope you learned a little something on this wonderful day. Get out there. Stay motivated. Per usual, thanks for joining me, guys. Have a wonderful day.